in Lauri Markkanen's return where he played really well. Let's talk about what the Jazz did well. The Anthony Edwards dunk was insane. Let's talk about it. It's the Hoops Nerd Show. All right, guys, before we get started, let's give a shout out to our sponsor, Prize Picks. Go to prizepicks.com, use promo code HoopsNerd. They will match you up to $100. If you bet the over on Anthony Edwards both times, then you hit it. The Utah Jazz are improving defensively, but not enough to stop the lead scorer basically every night. You want to make some easy overs? Pick the over on the player going against the Jazz that is the top scorer of that team. Very likely they're going to do well. And by the way, if you go to prizepicks.com, use promo code HoopsNerd, they will match up to $100. That's free money. Free. They'll double it. You put $5 down, you get $10. Go to prizepicks.com. If you haven't before, use promo code HoopsNerd. You'll have a lot of fun, I promise. All right, guys, before we get into it, new subscribe. It's all ready to go. I like the background. I'm really happy about it. Hope you like it as well. But let's discuss the game here. So, the Utah Jazz, let's see. Man, I've got some other ideas I'm doing for this channel. I'm actually really excited about where this is going. Things are evolving in the way they should. I'll just say that. Let's pop out the chat here just to make sure that I'm not missing anything. All right, first off, we just have to get it out of the way. That dunk by Anthony Edwards was ridiculous. When you injure someone and yourself because of the explosiveness of a dunk, it's wild. And Anthony Edwards is 100% that guy for the Minnesota Timberwolves. 32 points, 8 assists, 7 rebounds. Just an absolute monster. And he just gets into that game and he just scores at the end to just put the Jazz away. I mean, when they needed buckets, he came out and gave it for them. Incredible player. Just the perfect combination of athleticism, drive. He will lock down on, as a defender when he needs to. Honestly, Jordan-esque a little bit. Not comparing him, but just saying it's a little Jordan-esque where he's able to be because remember, Michael Jordan won Defensive Player of the Year, could lock someone down. And Anthony Edwards has that similar type of game where he's just this insane athlete, a scorer, killer mentality, and will also lock someone down defensively. This Wolves team is impressive with their defense. I mean, even without Rudy Gobert, they're able to defend at every single position the entire game with length and athleticism. I mean, Nickeil Alexander-Walker's coming off the bench, and he absolutely gave Keyonte George absolute fits. 3 steals tonight. I bet all 3 were on Keyonte George. He's a monster defensively. What a pickup by them from the Utah Jazz. He was not this player for Utah, I can tell you that. So real credit to the Minnesota Timberwolves for just turning him into, taking his game to another level. And for him to do it as well, to just say, you know what, I have the capability to be an elite defender. And he is. And you know what, before we talk about the Jazz, let's just talk about one thing. Absolutely 100% the officials have changed since All-Star break, and it's better. It's 100% better. They are not calling the fouls. If you go look at the scoring across the league, it is down. And it is because they are not calling fouls when offensive players are just initiating contact. They're just calling fouls that are fouls. And the game has improved exponentially. Yes, there's times where the refs blow my mind with their inability to see something as simple as, the ball going on out and who it was out on and things like that, which is crazy to me that they can be standing there watching it and not know. But it has improved. Now, it's frustrating that they could have done this a long time ago and stopped rewarding players for doing things that aren't basketball plays. It's a better game now. We're seeing basketball again, where guys can be physical, guys can actually defend. They're allowing players to defend. And yes, there's fouls here and there because it's basketball, but you're allowed to actually defend. Whereas, before All-Star break, you weren't allowed to. If the offensive player, put his shoulder into you and then took the jump shot, you get the foul. Now, if they do that, they swallow the whistle. And it's fantastic. I absolutely love it. We have to give credit to the officiating. Yes, it's annoying that they could have done this before. It proves the fact that they had been adjusting whenever they wanted to. It proves that they were making calls based off of stardom and things like that, which is frustrating, but it's better now. It's better. And you're going to see the scoring go down. You're going to see the real stars rise. Guys like Anthony Edwards, who, you know what? Anthony Edwards wasn't quite getting the calls before because the refs were idiots. But now that they're calling it the right way, he's rising to the top of to the cream of the crop there. 32 points, 8 assists, 7 rebounds on incredible efficiency, and he took 4 free throws. You know, is anyone sad that the free throws are down? 5 free throws for Lauri Markkanen, 4 free throws for Anthony Edwards, and I don't think anyone is complaining. And no one's going to watch James Harden take 14 free throws, you know? Or Trey, I mean, you know who's really sad about this is Luka Doncic and Trae Young. Those guys are like, you know, and James Harden taking, 14 to 18 free throws a game. Poor Anthony Davis on the Lakers. I don't know how he's going to survive. I really don't. Some of these guys are going to absolutely just crash and burn. And Trae Young is one of those guys. Jalen Brunson's still figuring out how to score. He can score without it, but that guy gets fouls like crazy. And so I'm just really happy. I'm really excited about the future of just basketball in general. I hope all of you are too. And we saw it in this game. It's really going to help this Wolves team, by the way. They were already an elite defensive team with length and size and athleticism all across the board. And now when they aren't calling the ticky-tack stupid fouls, this team's going to get even better. I mean, they're basically calling the games like they do in the playoffs just all season and saying, this is just not a fun thing to watch. It's better. I'm really happy, and I don't know if you guys are noticing it, but I for sure am. And I can't remember who the writer was that, showed the different stats. I want to say I can't remember. I'm going to say the name wrong. But anyways, you'll just see the scoring charts and how the scoring this season before All-Star break was absolutely bonkers to the point that it's just ridiculous. And it's not scoring because players are, scoring is up because three-point shooting has absolutely gone to another level everywhere. I mean, no one knows that better than Jazz fans when the Jazz were the number 1 seed with Mitchell and Bogdanovich and Conley and all that, and they were just bombing threes and knocking them down at a crazy level. But scoring was at an insane level because of the foul calls. These foul calls where they're calling above the break threes, and guys are just kind of flailing and getting three free throws. Or guys, like we said, they're just kind of bumping into a defender who has position and then taking a shot and then getting free throws. And it's crazy. And at some point, you're just like, are defenders allowed to do anything? It's bonkers. And when you're a team like the Jazz, who doesn't have these stars that get preferential treatment, it's not fun to watch. That game where the Jazz lost to the Lakers, where it was pretty close, the referees 100% chose who was winning that game. 100% took the Jazz out of the game because one team was allowed to defend and one team wasn't. And this is honestly proof of it. And it pisses me off. It's not fun to realize that the refs literally chose that and it was on the refs. It really was. Anyone who says otherwise is incorrect. But they took the Jazz out of that game. I couldn't believe it. But now it's different. And so it makes me happy. Yes, that sucks that things like that happened before. It's changed for the better. So I hope everyone's happy about that. I know I am. Bill Simmons and Ryan Russillo talked about it. You can go listen to them. They're great. Also had some interesting commentary on Donovan Mitchell, by the way. In fact, let's just talk about it. On this channel, we talked about the need to trade Rudy Gobert and Donovan Mitchell because of, one, they had to because of the cap situation. The Jazz were only going to get worse. They were only going to get worse. But Donovan Mitchell's leaving. He's leaving Cleveland, and Ryan Russillo talked about it. And we know that stuff from Donovan Mitchell, honestly, I'm going to just be honest. One of the faker guys out there, seriously, one of the faker guys out there, because what he does in front of the camera and what he does behind is two different things. And Ryan Russillo talked about it. And it's honestly pretty satisfying to me as a Jazz fan to see that honesty out there and people realizing it. By the way, I think, nothing more satisfying than people realizing that Quinn Snyder's overrated in Atlanta. Really nice, really satisfying. But anyways, he talked about how Donovan Mitchell can sit there with a Cleveland Cavaliers hat. Every single tweet is, let him know the hashtag for Cleveland. Let them know. Back with Utah. It's take note, baby. Take note. Love Utah. Love the mountains. Well, enjoy Cleveland, buddy. And now he's in Cleveland. It's all let him know. Cleveland Swords, baby. Let him know. They don't pay. Best fans in the NBA, Cleveland Cavaliers. Well, guess what? That's what they were telling us. We're the jilted girlfriend. We're the ex that talks to the new person and has an absolute story to tell and says, hey, you know what? They said the same thing. But they have that one place in mind. And so just be ready for when they start saying those hashtags. He's saying them now. Let them know. Every night. Remember every game before the Jazz? It was like, I can't remember. What would Donovan tweet? Like every morning, it's game day or something like that. I can't remember. Well, it was all baloney because he asked for a trade twice. And guess what? Now in Cleveland. And by the way, Ryan Russillo and them are plugged in. I don't know if I necessarily want to write an article on that, although, according to Russillo, and he doesn't lie, the rumors out there is he's going. And they even talked about New York. So anyone out there who complains about, the trades the Jazz did, the fact that, I'm going to beat this drum till the day I die. But Danny Ainge had to make that trade. He had to. And, if Dennis Lindsey's making that trade, what do you think the Jazz would have gotten in return? In a situation where they had to. There was no other option. Zero. Anyone who thinks that the Jazz were going to go into that season building around Donovan Mitchell, well, if you believe that, it's because Danny Ainge did a masterful job playing the media and just saying, calling people's bluff and said, you know what, New York, if you don't want to give me what I'm asking for this guy, then I'm going to Cleveland. And Donovan Mitchell goes to Cleveland, even though he wanted to go to New York, told the Jazz that's where he wanted to go. They sent him to Cleveland. Enjoy the humidity in the Great Lakes. You can't swim in them. Don't swim in them. Don't drink the water. But you know what? I'm sure they have Pizza Hut in Cleveland. You can go. In fact, I've been to Cleveland. I've lived in Ohio, so I don't even care. You know what Ohio has a lot of? A lot of jorts. A lot of jorts out there in Ohio. I hope Donovan Mitchell's enjoying the jorts and the Old Navy American flag t-shirts out there as people walk around like this saying, go Bucks. Well, go Bucks, baby. Enjoy the jorts and the humidity, my buddy. All right. Lot of jorts. Anyways, let's talk about the game at hand, shall we? It is a post-game show. By the way, let's not even talk about it yet. I have one other thing I'm excited about. Thank you to all the members of the channel, everyone who subscribed. Please like and subscribe to the channel. I would appreciate it very much. But guess what? We got our new background that I really love. So guess what? 3-point shot, dunk the like the ball. What it's doing there. Boom. Hit the subscribe. Boom. Hit the subscribe. But also, look at this. I got a new Hoops Nerd logo. More Jazz focused. This Jazz channel has evolved again. Flavor of old, flavor of new. There's the new Hoops Nerd logo. Let me know what you think. I personally am a big time fan. Very excited about the future of this channel. And I have one other edit I want to make. It's going to be great. Great. So anyways, thank you to all the members who support and obviously everyone who is subscribed to the channel. Things are just going to get better from here on out. All right, let's talk about the Utah Jazz. This Wolves team, and we talked about the fouls and how they're changing. Okay, let's just start over. We talked about the defense and how the refs are changing and not calling ridiculous fouls. It makes this Wolves team even better. In all honesty, they just got a bonus, basically. The Wolves just had things kind of tip in their favor a little bit. They're going to be able to defend even more. I think this Wolves team is one of the few teams that can challenge Denver. I just don't see, when I look at the West, in fact, let's just go to it. Western Conference standings, NBA. I just don't really see a lot of teams that I think can really challenge um, Denver. I mean, I think the Thunder are close, and it's interesting. They're the number one team, and I wouldn't be shocked if the Thunder beat the Nuggets, but I think it's going to be tough. I think they're just like one step away. I think they just need one more year of development, and then they might be able to. But I think of all these teams, the Timberwolves have a chance to beat the Nuggets. And so for the Jazz to play this Wolves team this well is pretty impressive. Is pretty impressive. Rudy Gobert didn't even play in this one, and they're still just an incredibly dominant defensive team. I mean, look at these. Jaden McDaniels is one of the best defenders in the NBA. Nickeil Alexander-Walker has turned himself into a monstrous defender. I mean, it's crazy. Mike Conley is playing elite level defense. And then Anthony Edwards, I mean, I'm not saying he's like Michael Jordan light he's honestly, the way he plays is so reminiscent. I personally I love it. I watched Jordan terrorize my beloved Utah Jazz for years, and I feared him like one fears Thanos. It was just terror. And he has that same ability where he's just more athletic, he's just stronger, he's bigger, and then he can just flat out lock you down defensively. I mean, Anthony Edwards is the guy at the end of the game where he says, I got this, and he goes and defends. And so this is a monstrous defensive team. I mean, Kyle Anderson is a very good defender. I don't think people realize how good a defender he is. Look at that, plus 20 for Kyle Anderson and a plus 26 for Nickeil Alexander-Walker. That tells you everything right there. Holy smokes. Man. But anyways, and it just goes to show, like, a lot of people will tell me, and I've had people message me about Nickeil Alexander-Walker. I mean, it just goes to show what happens when you have your best pieces and then you have complementary players that you can bring in that fit perfectly. And that's kind of what happened with Nickeil Alexander-Walker. It's like that puzzle piece that just fits, and he just shines in this environment. He's not being asked to do any more than what he does. I mean, look at this. He shot 36% from the field, Quinn Snyder would have hated this guy, just didn't want to play him, 36%. And he is a plus 26 in this game. On Utah, you just didn't see this. Why? Because they just needed more from him. But on this Wolves team, who doesn't have Rudy Gobert, doesn't have Karl Anthony Towns, has all these different lengthy wings, he just is asked to do specific things, and it works perfectly. So it's just different, It would not be the same on Utah because it's not the same. The Jazz just are missing those pieces that they need. But anyways, the moral of all this is that this Jazz team played well tonight. And the two, probably most important players on this Jazz team, Keontae George and Lauri Markkanen, both had 6 turnovers because they were the focal point of the defense all night. Keontae, Nickeil Alexander-Walker went at Keontae hard. Oh man, this makes me so happy though. I know the Jazz lost tonight, but guys, there's some things to be really happy about. And also, we got to give a shout out before tonight is all praise for Walker Kessler. I am so freaking proud of that guy. Honestly, my favorite game of the year for Walker Kessler. And last game we saw some of it too. I'm excited because we're finally seeing what we needed from him. And I'm proud of that guy because it's been probably brutal for him this year. And to see him, he's starting to come back into, like, tonight looked like vintage Walker Kessler. I was really happy with what I saw. So anyways, let's talk about Markkanen. Comes back from injury, knocks down his first 3, didn't hit any others, but he looked healthy to me. He had been laboring around All-Star break and post-All-Star break. To me, he just looked like he was not right. Like his body, he was not moving well. Tonight, he looked like he really was. Like that rest he got, I think he really needed it. And someone in the chat mentioned, are we still trying to convey? Milo, I think if the Jazz convey the pick, they'll be happy with it. They're trying to just see what they got. If they don't convey the pick this year, then they will base next year's strategy off of that. But they are wanting to see what they got, and I think we're seeing a lot of different things that are nice to see. I think we're also seeing some things that show that the Jazz have some deficiencies. And the Jazz are going to have to make a decision this offseason based off of what they're able to get, what they're able to do, blah, blah, blah. But anyways, Markkanen comes into this against the number one defense in the league. In fact, let's just talk about it again. Oh, there's my NBA injury report. Oh my gosh, Oh, look at that. NBA injury report. This is the official injury report from the NBA. I forgot I had that saved. Shout out to James 2 years ago that saved that. And then forgot about it. Anyways, let's go to team stats. Let's go to all, and let's just show, and we talked about this before, but this Wolves team is insane defensively, 2 points better than the nearest one, and I wouldn't be surprised if this gets even better with how well they play defense. 108.2, the Boston Celtics, who are incredible defensively, are 2 points worse than them. And then Cleveland, who has been kind of sliding defensively, still up here, but they were incredible to start the year, staying strong. And then Orlando. I really like what Orlando has been doing, and Oklahoma City, by the way, as they've built their teams. Really interesting. And these are the blueprints I would like Utah to follow. These two right here. What they've done is incredible, but they also both got really lucky. Oklahoma City got, Shea from that trade, which is kind of like Utah getting Markkanen, but then they absolutely tried to lose games, and then they got Chet, and Chet has been awesome for them. I think the Jazz are going this route, but we'll see. And then Orlando got lucky. They traded away their guys to be a little bit worse. They hit on Franz Wagner, and then they also got really lucky, won the number one overall pick, and now they have a real guy in Paolo Banchero. They'll just see if he can develop even more. Kind of like Anthony Edwards did. Anthony Edwards wasn't like this from day one. You saw the potential, the incredible athleticism, but the percentages weren't there. Now they are, and Ant is that guy. It just takes time, in fact, sorry, I'm talking a lot of outside the box stuff here. But Ant, if you just go to the stats, look at what he was doing to start. This is why you should be excited about. Look, he's in year 4. This is his 4th season. It takes time for these guys to figure it out. Even guys with just insane athleticism like Anthony Edwards, just one of the best. He might be the best athlete in the NBA, to be honest. I think, in fact, he is. I don't think that's really debatable. When you consider the culmination of all the different things, it's not just jumping. It's his ability to move side to side, his physical strength, his ability to use his athleticism, functionally. It's incredible. His coordination, he's incredible. And so, but even Edwards, who is just, literally one of the best athletes on planet Earth, it took him time. He starts going 32% from 3. This is why, be excited about Keontae George, who's shooting like 35, 36% from 3 for the season. Edwards started 32, slowly progresses. Look at that, 35, 36. Now he's shooting 37% from 3. This is actually pretty scary for the rest of the NBA, to be honest, what he is doing. He is going to be an MVP. He is an MVP caliber prospect, and he has a chance to be, look at this, 19, 21, 24, 26. And then these percentages, 41, 44, 45, 46. It's just crazy. So it takes these guys time. And so when you're looking at Keontae George, who is a rookie, and let's just pull it up. He had a nice bounce back from 3 this game, but he had been like 2 nights where he was like 1 for 7. He goes for the season, he's shooting 35.8%. He's just dipped below. He was at 36% before the last 2 games. So pretty impressive stuff. It's why you should be pretty excited about Keontae George. Yes, there's frustrations, but that's because he's a rookie. It's what rookies do. Anyways, back to Markkanen. I loved what I saw from Markkanen tonight. I don't care about the 1 for 5 from 3. I don't care about the turnovers. I really don't. You know what happens when you're getting turnovers? You know what turnovers mean? That you were actually initiating things. And tonight we saw that from Markkanen. I wrote a big article yesterday. I'm going to do a video on it. It's about the reason why the Jazz should consider trading Markkanen. And a lot of people, I knew when I posted that, and I knew when I tweeted it, I was going to get a lot of replies. And I did. I was actually surprised how many people agreed or liked what I wrote. So if you haven't read it yet, go to SLC Dunk. I'm going to do a video on it. But Markkanen went isolation a lot. And I was in one of the things in that article that I wrote about, and I was looking at NBA stats on this stuff. I went deep dive, baby. You know what? I got a bag too. I don't just talk eye test. I can go get those advanced stats like any of you, any of y'all, okay? I went in the bag. But anyways, in isolation, he gets like 0.8 per game in isolations, according to NBA.com. And he's in the 67th percentile in his points per possession. It's pretty good. 67th percentile. And what it tells you is that he should do more of it. The only issue is that he has a 2.0 to like 1.3 assist to turnover ratio. And why is his, I mean, that's, at least it's positive, but Markkanen is not an ISO player. He is a catch and shoot 3-point shooter. He is surprisingly not good at pull up 3-pointers. He just doesn't take a lot of them, and he's not good at it. He shoots 20% on pull up threes. It's just a shot he doesn't really take, and for good reason. He's not very good at it. And then running a pick and roll, he's in the 1 percentile. He just doesn't do it. It's a non-existent part of his game. And so what he is a catch and shoot 3-point shooter. But if that's all he is, then you got to ask yourself, I mean, is it worth missing out on incredible prospects in the draft for that? Well, what we saw tonight was that he can do some of that. He can go isolation, and he did it. Yes, he turned the ball over, but guess what? That's how you get better. You have to get out of your comfort zone. You have to do the things that you're not used to doing or you don't like doing, or you're not going to get better. If Markkanen just does what he's good at, he'll be a very good to great player. But that's it. If he's going to take the next step, he's got to get those isolations and do better at it. And tonight he was doing it. It was nice to see. If you didn't notice, he was going hard at his guy. He doesn't do a lot of post-ups either. He's actually pretty good in his post-ups because usually the Jazz are setting him up against a mismatch, and he's pretty good at those too. Like above average. I can't remember what the percentile was. I don't want to look it up, but he's good at it. But there's times where it's just like, Jazz fans will complain on Twitter and all these different things like, oh, get him the ball. Why aren't we getting Markkanen the ball? Well, guess what? It's sometimes pretty hard. And if the only part of your game is catch and shoot threes, then guess what? That makes you pretty easy to defend. And against a good defense like the Minnesota Timberwolves, who are going to take away your best actions and the things you're best at, it's going to make it hard for you to score. So it's nice to see Markkanen going for it tonight. He played hard. This was one of my favorite Markkanen games of the season, mostly because he's doing the things he needs to get to another level as a player. So this was nice to see. 50% from the field too. So he missed 4 threes. That means he goes 8 for 12 from the field, 75%. And that included his isolations. So I'm telling you right now, it was above average ISOs. It was above average post-ups. Really nice to see. Now, obviously, you want the 3-point shot to fall. It didn't, but that's okay. Because what I'm really happy to see is that Markkanen is adding a little bit to his game. And this Jazz team struggled so much to start the season. And you have to give a little bit of that blame to Markkanen. Yes, Colin Sexton wasn't very good to start the season. Yes, THT starting at the beginning of the season did not go well at all. It went terribly. And yes, Keontae George struggled at the start of the season, and as the Jazz slowly figured it out, it got better. But Markkanen's inability to really have any sort of ability to handle the ball and go in isolation and score in the post and things like that, creating those situations on his own, I guess I should say, that didn't make it any easier. So the Jazz have had to evolve around that deficiency from their best player, So seeing stuff like this from Markkanen gives me a lot of hope because it makes it more possible for him to do more of that. I mean, just think about the different players out there, the different small forwards and power forwards out there, like the Jason Tatums of the world. They're able to go in and get those shots. Jason Tatum goes and he gets his post-ups and he gets his isolations and scores in them. Markkanen can score in the post. Markkanen can score, and at a nice level, a high level even, in those situations. It's just his ability to get into those sets, if that makes sense. So to see him doing that tonight, I don't care about the 6 turnovers. I don't care because I want to see more of that from Markkanen. I want to. And the more he does it, the more he'll get used to it. The more he'll figure out how to do that. If Markkanen is going to be a part of the team for the long-term foreseeable future, he's got to improve as well. And that's one of the ways he can do that. So that was my favorite thing tonight from Markkanen. Also, just the pure aggression was great to see. Guys, Taylor Hendricks is turning into something special. He really is. And he is going to make, Danny Ainge, I 100%, it's only a matter of time till we get the Tony Jones, Taylor Hendricks is untouchable tweet, but he's untouchable because the potential for this guy is awesome. Him hitting 2 for 4 from 3. In fact, after tonight, I'm just curious what his 3-point percentage is at. Let's see. Let's go to stats and let's just see. Because I believe these update in real time on NBA.com. It's my favorite part about NBA.com. 32.9, so he's almost at 33, so that's going up. It's only going to get better because he is a good 3-point shooter. He's getting more comfortable. You can just see his comfort level while he's on the floor, and they're asking him to they're asking him to do the same things like Holly Rowe said that they asked Jaden McDaniels to do. He is guarding the best players on the other team, and he can guard 1 through 5. It's pretty nuts. Really impressive. So he is absolutely a playoff caliber prospect, championship caliber prospect. I 100% believe it because he can do this 3 for 6 from the field, 2 for 4 from 3. High level rebounder. Even though this is just 6 rebounds, it was nice to see Markkanen is a high level rebounder. So with these guys on the floor, you're seeing really high level rebounding between these 3 guys. Nice to see. But then, yeah, just seeing him knock that 3-point shot down, him playing great defense. How many personal fouls? Just 1 foul after, I believe he fouled out last game. I can't remember. He had at least 5. Just nice. He's getting better, and he's an important part of what they're doing. It's just, a player's getting to that next level when you're hoping they put him on the floor. And I don't know how you guys feel, but I know when I'm watching, it's just, there are multiple times where I'm like, I wish Hendricks was on the floor. I wish Hendricks was guarding their guy. I wish Hendricks could put Hendricks on Anthony Edwards or something like that because he just has incredible potential and he keeps getting better. And the hope for him is that he just continues to improve. That if he stays like he is right now, he's like a Robert Covington, probably much more athletic, much more functional defender. I think Covington was an overrated defender, to be honest. But Hendricks is much better athlete, more functional athlete, and he defends at a high level, rebounds at a high level, and he can shoot the 3. So he has a chance to be really special defensively for Utah. Incredibly versatile defensively. But then, you're even seeing Taylor Hendricks go over screens on the perimeter at his size. What is he, 6'9", 6'10"? Or we already pulled this up. 6'9", and he's going over screens. Impressive stuff. And he's only going to be more important with the NBA fixing their referee issues. So I can't say enough how excited I am about what he is. When the Jazz drafted him, I kind of knew that was going to be who they picked when Coulibaly was off the board, and also Anthony Black and all them. But you know what? You kind of knew that he was going to be an NBA rotation player. It was like, this is a very solid, safe pick. Well, it's turning out that it's going to be even more than that. He might be something more. At worst, he's going to be an elite defender and a high-level 3-point shooter, which makes him a really nice player to have. So, really nice to see. John Collins, I feel bad for the guy because he's been on every single poster on the poor guy, but you know what? John Collins is awesome, and I hope he's okay. It sounds like he may have avoided a concussion. We'll see. But he got a pretty nasty cut, apparently. It sucks. But John Collins played well tonight. Look at that, +4. Sadly, he will be remembered for being dunked on by Anthony Edwards. But he had a nice game. Played really nice, and he does what the Jazz want him to, and it was nice to see. The Jazz had the second game in a row where they start Chris Dunn. Chris Dunn goes 3 for 9, 2 for 6, 8 points in this one with 5 assists, which is nice to see. Will Hardy talked about last game how much the Jazz need to pass the ball and how mad he was and whatnot. And there was a part of me that was like, well, I will say you're going against the best defense in the NBA on a back-to-back. Can we be a little understanding? I get it. Will Hardy is intense and incredibly competitive, but it was nice to see the Jazz do this. And look at this. Keontae George, 8 assists after Will Hardy made that big time, challenge to the team and threat. And pretty nice to see. But 5 assists from Chris Dunn. He's not just going for his little floater shot. He was moving the ball, and 5 point. And look at that, 5 assists plus 2 for the game. Keontae George, like we said, 6 turnovers for him as well. Nickeil Alexander-Walker gave him fits, and this is just great experience. Same for Markkanen, great experience. Key's going to have to, and he struggled with Na last time. Sometimes you're just going against a really good defender. And that's what Na is. He just has turned into one of the elite defenders in the NBA on the perimeter, at least guarding guards. And six turnovers, although that's also Jaden McDaniels, who is just insanely long and an incredible defender as well. He had that one wraparound tap where, just his length is crazy. And so these are just good. This is good experience for Keontae George. He's probably just never been against this type of competition. It's, it's like the NFL. Like you're going to, it's one thing to go from college football and you're playing against Iowa Tech State University, and then now you're in the NFL and you're going up against, Aaron Donald, who just retired. You know what I mean? It's the same thing in the NBA. You're going against, he's played for Baylor, and he actually didn't play. He played half the season because of injury. Now he comes in the NBA. He's learning how to play point guard, going up against the absolute best athletes in the world, like Anthony Edwards. After you're playing, I don't even watch college basketball, but playing against TCU, and now you're playing against Jaden McDaniels and the best defenders on the planet. Wembanyama one night, the next night it's Jaden McDaniels, the next it's Chet Holmgren. I don't know. It's the competition level is insane, and so this is just good experience. And by the way, yes, he had the 6 turnovers. It's still a positive assist to turnover ratio, 8-6. He still went 50% from the field, 2 for 3 from 3. I mean, come on. The guy is turning into something really special. In fact, I think he's looking more and more like the number 2 on a championship team to me, that he can be kind of that guy, kind of like the Kyrie to Luka Doncic. Keontae George is looking very much like that to me. He's only going to get better too. That's the thing. He's a rookie and he's only going to get better. The guy has such incredible potential offensively. It's really nice to see. I don't know if I have anything else to say, but appreciate what he's doing. Yes, the turnovers weren't great, but that's, what? He's learning. He's a rookie. It's what happens. Colin Sexton had another nice night. You know what's crazy? Look at this. So they showed a graphic during the game. The last 4 games, Colin Sexton went 9 for 16. This is wild. He goes 9 for 17 in this one. That's what in the world? It's almost like he's got an internal clock like Kramer on Seinfeld where he's like, I've got to take 16 shots. But tonight he takes 17. He goes 5 for 8 from 3 at a stretch where he was just awesome. 24 points. 2 assists, but he is incredible as that 6th man. It's really nice to see him kind of fit into that role. And you know what? Man, if the Jazz can get Stephon Castle and he can be their starting shooting guard next to Key, oh my gosh. It's going to be, the Jazz might still convey, but we talk about how nice they are and they lost tonight. Utah is now locked into that 9 spot. And so very extremely unlikely that they do not, unless Atlanta and Houston jump or something like that, they're going to probably be making their pick this year. But anyways, let's see. Keontae George, Colin Sexton, very much looking nice as a 6th man. I actually, the numbers don't tell you. Talen Horton-Tucker's not going to be on the Jazz next year. But one thing I wanted to, did I turn it off? We got to do a reminder here. Refresh this. The reason that Talen Horton-Tucker plays is this right here, deflections. Right here. So Kelly Olynyk's not on the Jazz anymore. But if anyone asks you why he plays, well, look, Chris Dunn, no surprise, 133 deflections. Colin Sexton has 108. Underrated aspect of his game is his ability to create a little bit of chaos defensively. But then look who's number 3 on the current Jazz roster on deflections. THT. And he doesn't play as much as Markkanen does. Actually, kind of impressive to see Markkanen with that many. But, if you're asking yourself why he's played, and we've kind of talked about this, it's kind of nice to have the eye test validated. He just deflects the ball. So it's really like a defensive substitution. because he takes bad shots. Every game he'll take one or two that just make you go, why did you shoot that shot? But the reason he does play is for the defense. And he does get assists, 3 assists in this one, and 2 steals. There's the deflections showing up right there. Let's see, who had the most? Tied for the lead in steals, actually. The Jazz only had 6 tonight, but Taylor Horton Tucker accounted for 2 of them. So when you're watching THT, just remember it's a defensive substitution. Sensabaugh finally hit a 3. He had struggled with his 3 earlier. He's struggled a little bit the last 2 or 3 games, but you know what? We're going to give him a little bit of grace because he's a rookie. Just like Keontae, he's a rookie. That's going to happen. But everything I've seen from him has been nice. 3 points, 3 assists. That's actually really nice to see. 3 assists from him. The Jazz are asking him to be able to play make and show that he can move the ball and things. And so you're seeing that. And we talk about, future 2 guards for the Jazz. If Sensabaugh can take his defense to another level, why couldn't he play the 2 guard? Why couldn't he? If he can prove that he can knock down shots. He's got to prove it, though. The last 2 games before this one, he was 0 for like 7 and 0 for 5 or something like that. So tonight it was nice to see him knock down this 3. But you know what? He's a rookie. You got to just let him improve. The Kira Lewis substitution was funny. Look at this. 0s across the board for Kira Lewis and a -10. I don't think he's an NBA player. Just saying. All right. Last but not least, Walker Kessler. This was my favorite game of the season for Walker Kessler. I was so impressed and honestly proud of this guy because he has been going through it. You can tell mentally he has been struggling. And for him to come out and have a big time game like this is really nice to see. For him to go 2 for 3 from the field. He only took 3 shots, but one of these was that putback dunk. And Thurl mentioned it, and he was absolutely right that there was a split second where he wanted to pass it out, but he went up hard on an offensive rebound and dunked the ball Shaq style. And it made me so happy because I have been begging for that. Just begging for it. Please, Walker, go up there and do a Shaq and dunk that ball and lift your legs in the air and hang on the rim. Get a tech. I don't care. But just show some fierceness. And he did. And it was so satisfying. And so it makes me so happy to see him doing that. Look at this. This is his best rebounding game in a long time. In fact, let's just go look. Let's give him some credit. I don't know why Audrey just barked. If you don't know, my dog's name is Bark. Or my dog name is Bark. That would be a fun name for a dog, by the way. In fact, Bark is pretty funny. I kind of want to get an English bulldog, and maybe I'll name it Bark. But anyways, no, not Tankathon. Let's go to Basketball Reference, Walker Kessler, and let's just look at his game logs for 23-24. He had 14 rebounds tonight. This is obviously not logged. Total rebounds, he had one game in game 8 with 15. He has not had more than, the last time he had 12 was game 22. He is not, okay, I guess he had 12 in game 59, but look how sparse this is. Look how many single rebound games he's having. 3 rebounds, 4 rebounds. I mean, it's been driving me nuts. So for him to have 14 rebounds, which looks like it's his second, tied for his second most for the season, it was awesome. But I felt like these rebounds were legit. These were in traffic, tough rebounds. He was hustling. He was playing hard. It was really nice to see. This was a good, really good Walker Kessler game. And you know what? Minnesota's a very good team. They just are. They are a complete team. And for him to have a nice night like that is really nice to see. If John Collins is out for a bit, he's going to get some starter minutes. And who knows? Maybe Walker Kessler comes in, plays extremely well, and says, this is my position now. You know, I don't know. Will Hardy's willing to do literally anything with his lineups based off of what he thinks is going to help the team win. And if he thinks that, you know, Walker Kessler coming in and Lauri Markkanen and Taylor Hendricks at the 4 and the 3 is better, then he'll do it. Really, the only thing holding Walker Kessler back is Walker Kessler. Him going and just going really hard is what I've wanted to see. Spida B45 $4.99, my man, thank you so much. Your first super, my friend. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Spida B45, I was at the game and man, did Keontae get picked on. Tough rookie game for him. Still super excited for him. Yeah, we talked about Keontae a little bit already, but yeah, I'll go back. I mean, he got picked on. He had the 6 turnovers, but he's growing. He's a rookie. But for all that, you look at his stats, 50% from the field, 2 for 3 from 3. He took 1 free throw tonight, but he had 8 assists and 3 rebounds. 8 assists. And this was after Will Hardy talked about, players need to pass the ball. And so to see Keontae George do that is really nice to see. Fantastic. Great comment, Spida. Let's see. But yeah, I wanted to give some flowers tonight because everyone who watches my channel knows that I've been pretty hard on Walker Kessler this year. And so I just want to talk great things about Kessler, how, he can protect the rim, and when he's playing tough and he's getting offensive boards and things like that, he turns into another player, It really is just nice to see. So impressive stuff from Walker Kessler, made me happy. All that said, the Jazz lost. Did anyone miss Jordan Clarkson, by the way? Not me. Let's see. All right. First off, we got to see what would happen if the Jazz had, I got to pull, oh man, I didn't pull it up. I had to restart my computer. My dumb internet wasn't working. Let's see. All right. Yeah. So by the way, I get to switch to fiber at some point here, and I'm really excited about it. Utopia, baby. If Utopia wants to sponsor the channel, just let me know, Utopia. But anyways, let's see. Let's give a shout out. Well, let's see first who the Jazz would draft if the lottery was today. Last time, the Jazz won the number 3 overall pick. Let's see what they get tonight at number 9. Let's see. Utah jumps again to number 4. Woo! Utah gets to number 4, which likely gets them... Oh my gosh, they've changed their thing again. I tell you what, Cody Williams at 6, are you serious? I love Cody Williams. He's my favorite. I love Zachary Reisaker too. He's going to be an absolute lights-out shooter. Incredible. I don't understand the rise of Reed Shepherd, but you know what? A lot of people like him. I don't know. Looks like they have Jacoby Walter falling to the Jazz at 9. Are you serious? And look at Stephon Castle jumping to 10. I love this guy. I have a hard time seeing him not moving up a little bit. But you know what? At a certain point, certain players kind of lock into certain points in the draft, and there's nothing you could do. But there's guys I really like, and guys I really like in this draft. Sar, I really like. I like Reisaker. I'm not a big Topic fan. Reed Shepherd, I guess I'll need to watch some video, but I don't like undersized guys at shooting guard. But maybe, you know what? Maybe he's incredible. Maybe he's transcendent. I don't know. I love Cody Williams. I actually don't mind Jacoby Walter, but I need to see more defensively from him. I really like Stephon Castle. The potential with him is awesome. 3.9 assists, it's the 1.2 steals, and it's the rebounds at 6'6" at shooting guard. Impressive stuff. It just tells me he's an NBA athlete. All right, let's give a shout out to our All-Stars. Let's give a shout out to Ryan Perry, the legend, the Tim Protector robot, Nathan Butnett Burkhardt, Dirty Jazz Car Wash Channel, Fly Eagles Fly, Platinum Eagles, now the owners of Saquon Barkley, the Real Deal Lars Jarvin, and Just Buckets JB, Baby Elliott Madsen, Christian House Money to Haas, the Outlaw Jesse James Nelson, Ezekiel Raicibe, the man from down under, see ya, Lexa later, Built Ford Tough, Alexander Tufts, Jorge Arrizaga, Mimigo de Abajo, Jordan the Goat Best Roll, TGD Total Game Domination, Tyson Price, The Price is Right, Austin R. Grant, Editor Extraordinaire, KG10 to TH5, DW to CB, Patrick Kubo, the Connoisseur, and Robert Hall of Fame. Guys, if you're a Jazz fan and if you haven't subscribed yet, what are you doing? Subscribe to the channel. In fact, where is it? Where am I? What's going on here? Where is it? There we go. I want to turn it on because I love it. Guys, like and subscribe to the channel. I will talk to you next time.